indoor dining for eating and drinking establishments on a limited capacity of 25% with no more than 6 people per table per party. We should emphasize that establishments must keep a written record of those eating that includes information such as the date and time of the visit, names of the individuals, including the assigned server, and the phone number and or email of the customers. Bars remain prohibited from opening. And finally, the Agana Shopping Center announcing its agreement with its newest tenant, Ross Dress for Less. The popular store is set to become the shopping center's anchor tenant. Construction on the space is currently underway, and the shopping center is excited to bring this fantastic brand to the community and its customers. We now head into the Zoom room where we get your work week weather forecast from Brandon Aydlett. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning, Sabrina. How are you doing?
I'm good. How was your holiday?
It's too quick as always. Had a great Christmas day with the family, and then had to go right into the night shifts. So back to the routine. But the weather never sleeps, and neither do we.
Exactly. So what can we expect?
Well, this week is going to be primarily driven by the trade winds. We've seen a small craft advisory, high rip current risk through the weekend. And that's mainly because of the stronger trade winds. We've been seeing trade winds up to about 15 to 25 miles per hour. And let me switch my camera around and give you some satellite views. But right now, looking at one of our satellites that scans the ocean surface, indicating the different wind speeds, those yellow winds, that indicates 20 to 25 knot winds. And that clearly shows up in some of the buoys where we've been seeing sea heights between 6 and 8 feet. With some other satellite-based observations indicating seas closer to 7, 8, 9, even 10 feet off to the east of the Marianas. So these are conditions that are fairly choppy and probably not the conditions you want to be in if you're operating a smaller boat. So ultimately, for the next couple of days, it's going to be a little bit choppy and breezy out there. Weather-wise, we saw some showers push off through the northern Marianas. Yesterday, those have finally moved off to the west, and they are now producing a little bit of lightning. But for us here across the islands, there's another small disturbance just east of Tinian Saipan that will bring in a few showers. And we've actually seen a couple showers moving across the island today. Current radar imagery, sorry for the glare. We do have some showers pushing across Guam. So people who are out there already driving, we'll probably be dealing with a few wet roads here and there. We got a few more showers that are going to come through, but by midday, those showers should start breaking up, and we're going to see a fairly dry trade wind pattern resuming today. Ultimately, these showers are not going to be bringing too much precipitation. They're going to be quick moving, and they'll just get things wet for a little bit, and that will be it. Looking at some of the moisture plumes, this is another satellite-derived moisture profile showing all the moisture in the atmosphere. That if you were to condense it, you could see however much moisture. So right here in the red, east of the Marianas, that's showing about 2¼ inches of rainfall. So that's pretty moist. That's what you would see in the wet season, and that is all very shallow moisture that ultimately is not going to produce too much rainfall. There's just not much vertical lift to produce the thunderstorms nearby. However, down across Micronesia, west Micronesia, Yap, Palau, even into Chuuk, and then farther eastward into Pohnpei, they've been seeing quite a few thunderstorms and some heavy showers. But fortunately for the Marianas, that's going to stay well to our south. And ultimately, our winds locally will be decreasing tonight, and they're going to be hovering between 10 and 15 miles per hour through midweek. But then we're going to see another cold front that's going to be dropping off of Japan. It's going to be dropping out of the northwest, and it's eventually going to cause winds to increase locally. And we see this over and over through the dry season as we have a trough of low pressure along the equator, and then fronts and high pressures move across the northern Pacific. And what we call that is the pressure gradient force. So the closer the high and the low pressures, north to south, the stronger our winds are locally. And we're going to see this trend playing over and over and over the next several months on a fairly repeat basis. Right now, winds will be decreasing midweek, and then they're coming up again late week. So the current advisories we have in effect, small craft advisory for winds of 20 to 25 knots and seas of 7 to 9 feet. they will be decreasing later today. So we're expecting to drop that small craft advisory this evening. And then also a high risk of rip currents for east facing reefs, where we're expecting to see surf 9 to 10 feet at times. And that's going to be creating some pretty strong rip currents. But the bigger hazard, out of Jeff's Pirates Cove, we've been seeing quite a few pictures with a lot of the Pacific man-o-wars, Portuguese man-o-war, cousins of a species, I would say. They've been washing up on the east-facing reefs, and those are quite dangerous to be in contact with. So if you see those floating in the water, washed up on the beaches, try to avoid those. Their tentacles can provide some very nasty stings. And so we have a beach hazard statement that is in effect through noon today. But keep in mind, we do not forecast the man-o-wars. There's no way for us to forecast it. But so they may still wash up on beaches in the next couple of days. But talking with Brent Tibbats over at Division of Wildlife and Aquatics, they do track these events throughout the year. And they have seen some correlation with these stronger trade wind surges. So we'll be in contact with them. And especially if any of you see man-o-wars washing up on the beach, send them to us on our Facebook page, because we like to have that information. And especially if they're increasing in count, we put out some beach hazard statements, because we want to make sure people remain safe out there on the beaches. And that's about all I have for you. Anything else you'd like to hear?
Wait, so you ever been stung by a jellyfish?
Thankfully, I have not. Growing up on the North Carolina coast, never the man-o-wars, but I have had a slight sting from just a regular jellyfish, and we'd have some that would grow. The worst ones would come up to about 8 to 12 inches in diameter. Wow. And those would be kind of nasty. I've seen some bad stings from those, but nothing from what I have read up on the man-o-wars.
Mm-hmm. Are those the blue? The ones that are blue?
Yeah, I was going to say, Brandon, if you can maybe differentiate between, because it seems like on the eastern side of the island, and I like how you pointed out, like, Just Pirates goes, because everybody always goes, and they've taken pictures, like, in the last few years of the Portuguese man-o-wars. Yep. Maybe give our audience maybe a little bit of distinction between the Portuguese man-o-wars, the ones that look like baggies with stuff hanging down beneath the water, and then the jellyfish like we tend to see on Ipao Beach, on the other side of the island.
Yeah, so the jellyfish, the easiest way to describe it would be just a round disc that kind of floats on the water, and then they would have tentacles. Of course, the jellyfish, they can actually swim through the water. If you ever get a chance to go to the underwater world, they have a great display that has a lot of jellyfish in it. Yeah. And but the man-o-wars have the little blue air sac that kind of floats on the water surface, and those would keep them quite exposed to the stronger trade winds. And it's probably why they move along with these wind surges. But they also have tentacles that extend down below into the water. And I'm not an expert on this, but some of the tentacles can get fairly long, and you might not even see them, and then you're stung. So keep your distance. And if you do go out in the water, we recommend not going into the water. But if you do, keep your eyes open and don't be caught off guard.
You know, I'm one of those, I did a whole segment on windsurfing.
Oh, here we go. I know where you're going with this.
And, you started at Jeff's Pirates Cove and you do the training there, and then you go over to this private beach. But when we got to the private beach, there was jellyfish all along the shore with the blue color on them. And my instructor was like, "Oh, there's jellyfish in the water."
Here it comes.
Like, I did not just train and fall and trip and, scratch up my knees and my hands not to at least try this windsurfing thing. And
there you go. Thanks, Brandon. Yeah. Yeah.
This is some webpage locally. KUAM.
Yeah, they were blue.
Actually.
Yeah.
Good job, KUAM.
Thanks.
So, yeah, I tried the windsurfing thing, and after like 6-7 attempts and I couldn't do it, I said no, because I could see the jellyfish floating in the water, and there were a lot of people out there windsurfing, and they were telling me, "You're gonna be okay. We'll just pee on it. It's only gonna sting for a little while." And I'm like,
I knew she was
none of
going
y'all
there.
are gonna pee on me. I'm done. So yeah, it's probably a good idea not to get in the water. But like you said, with the trade winds, there's probably a lot of windsurfers out there.
Well, Brandon,
Yeah, and
there.
so one of the things to keep in mind
Ooh.
is with the way that the man o' wars seem to move along with the winds, the highest risk will be for those beaches that are well exposed to the wind. That's why Just Pirates Cove and all the east-facing beaches have seen them. We did get some confirmation that they were spotted up on in Saipan. So the highly exposed beaches to the wind will see the greatest risk.
Oh, goodness.
Well, Brandon, we got Andy Wheeler here in the Zoom room and everything. Andy, I wanted to kind of bring you in on this because I know when you and I were at UOG, like in the early and mid '90s, you know, UOG has for years had like a world-class marine lab, and they always teach us, you know, whether you take the marine biology class or not, they always say, you know, it's an amazing class. The lab there is absolutely hands-on, but there's two things you want to watch out for: is the Portuguese man-o-war jellyfish and the crown of thorns starfish and everything. And that's, you know, whether you major in bio or not, you get exposed to that at some level. So, you know, as an outdoorsman, have you ever seen that kind of stuff?
Jellyfish, yeah. I mean, I was a lifeguard for years up on Anderson, so they would wash up on occasion. And just being out in the water and stuff, yeah, you see them on occasion, but, you know, like they come in blooms, you know what I mean? And like Brandon was saying with the winds, I mean, these little air sacs on the water, they kind of act like sails. So when you have a huge population of these things, the winds are just going to blow them across the ocean. So they come in waves, you know, when it rains, it pours. So yeah, I mean, they're pretty common, and the stings, they can be pretty intense. Trust me, I've been stung a bunch of times. When we would have to clear the water of all the people, you know, we would get out there and just make sure. And yeah, I got stung a few times.
To
and,
Sabrina's
it's
point,
not
did
my
you pee
favorite
on
thing.
yourself?
No.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Because I knew she was going there, but no. But yeah, okay. And
Hey, that's
Jason
what they
just wants
said.
somebody to pee on somebody, which is, you know.
yeah. Okay, but you know, I know they say a lot of people get inadvertently stung or accidentally stung by these jellyfish because people, you know, I mean, we love our environment.
Nobody's
over here.
intentionally getting stung.
Yeah, we want to take care of Mother Earth here. Obviously, we're responsible Guamanians, but some people go there and they think they're actually like plastic bags when they wash up on the beach, and they're just like, oh, let me go and, you know, clean these and everything like that, and they wind up touching it and they accidentally.
Oh no,
Yeah.
you could tell that's not a plastic bag.
No, I've seen a bunch of people. They're like,
Really?
oh, I thought it was like a container or something like that, so I wanted to get rid of it.
No, just stay away.
But once they're out of the water, the sting really falls off pretty quickly. Once they dry up and they're not in the water, the sting is not as effective. Because we used to go and like physically pick them up from the beach, you know, because we didn't want kids getting stung or something.
Wow.
And after a while, you don't even notice it. They just, you know, they don't last forever once they wash up. So, but still, I would not recommend touching them or picking them up. But yeah, I mean, you know, they are pretty. They have that purple color, and it's a nice little natural air sac. So it's pretty. They're pretty, but they sting quite a bit.
And
Pretty
Andy, you
but
do realize.
dangerous.
Well, you do realize, with the exception of your glasses and Brandon's mask, we can't tell either of you apart right now. You're the third Aydlett triplet.
What are you saying,
You knew
Jason?
that
We
was
all
coming.
look alike?
Oh, do you have glasses, Brandon, that you can put on?
I'm working on that.
You want me to just take mine off? There we go.
Oh, hey, there.
There.
Okay. They're getting
Which
clogged
is
up.
which? You know, our names on the screen are giving us away, Brandon.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Brandon. Wait, New Year's Eve, did you say it was going to be nice?
New Year's Eve. Well, right now we're not seeing anything that's going to be threatening us. These little trade wind disturbances. Here, let me swap the screen around. There is another a couple areas of clouds that will eventually be moving westward into the Marianas. But right now, all the computer models are showing dry and just partly cloudy skies. And this morning's forecast that I've issued, I'm looking at pretty dry conditions. We'll probably see a small uptick in cloud cover around Thursday into Friday, which Friday is New Year's Day.
Yeah.
But no significant increase in precipitation. So we're not seeing a major amount of rain. Computer models for the next 10 days we're topping out around an inch of rainfall for the next 10 days. That's pretty dry. That's dry season dry.
So what's your New Year's resolution before we let you go?
Oy, good grief. I don't know. Not to make a resolution.
Right? Yeah, there you go.
I want to resume travel. I had some travel destinations I wanted to do. Take my son, give him some experiences, and my wife and I, we enjoy traveling to Japan. And so I've still got to hike another trail on Mount Fuji.
There
So
you go.
perhaps this summer, we'll see.
So have you taken down your Christmas decorations yet? And how long is it gonna
No.
take? Not yet.
Assembled that massive Lincoln Logs epic thing. That man, that I was blown away by that, bro. That was amazing.
My brother and I, we used to build some massive structures in the past. We built a Lincoln Log house 25 feet tall one time. And we had a friend in downtown Raleigh who had an historic home. And the stairwell atrium was like a 30-some foot ceiling. And we built up, but we had to tie it to the banisters around the stairway to keep it from tilting and falling over.
Yeah.
But we grew up building massive houses and had a lot of fun with the Lincoln Logs.
Wow.
Send us pictures.
Yes, we'll do.
All right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
All right. And that was Brandon Aydlett with your work week weather forecast. Keep in mind there are, what did he say, man of war jellyfish down.
Portuguese man of war.
Portuguese
jellyfish.
man of war
Yeah.
jellyfish on the east side of